Welcome, sports fans, to this 2021 Major League Baseball and Opening Day preview. In this show, I will cover the Detroit Tigers roster for this season. I will talk about their opponent for Opening Day tomorrow at Comerica Park. I will give you my prediction for where I think the Tigers will finish within the division this year, as well as some predictions about certain things that I think may occur during the season. To lead things off in this segment, I will start by going over the Detroit Tigers roster for tomorrow in this season. In left field will be Robbie Grossman, who is projected to be the leadoff hitter. And while he hit .341 last year, he only hit .238 in spring training. Now, as far as I'm concerned, last year, given the way that it was, I think we all need to take with a grain of salt. As far as I'm concerned, past about the second game of the season, the rest of the season ought not to have occurred. So bear that in mind. But still, no, somebody with .341 last year leading off certainly is an improvement over last year. And then center field will be Jacoby Jones, who so far this year only hit 119 in spring training this year, rather. We know what Jacoby Jones is capable of. He's capable of hitting about .270, maybe even .280, with 15 to 20 home runs and 10 to 15 stolen bases. In right field will be Nomar Mazara, who last year hit .238, but in spring training only hit .188. He's on the ropes to perhaps lose his starting job if his hitting doesn't improve, and later on I will get to who he may lose his starting job to if his hitting doesn't pick up. At third base will be Heimer Candelario, who the Tigers decided will play third base exclusively this year, though don't be surprised if he ends up playing a little bit of first base, which he did last year. In terms of his hitting, while he rebounded last year when his job was in jeopardy, considering that it was only 60 games, I wouldn't put too much into that. And I think for him to really hang on to the job, he's going to need to come up with a good hitting effort this year. And there's no question in my mind, he's capable of having a 20 home run season, to be sure. At shortstop will be Willie Castro, which will come as no surprise to any Tigers fan, who hit .319 in spring training, and last year hit .349 in limited action. I think Willie Castro's upside is tremendous, and I think the Tigers really have the shortstop of their future in him. At second base will be Jonathan Schoop. I think we all know what he's capable of doing. Miguel Cabrera will play first base, and bear in mind he will DH somewhat this year, but also bear in mind that there is no C.J. Crum this year, so I would suspect that Miguel Cabrera will play more first base than what people might suspect. And what that might entail, depending on if he's healthy throughout the season, I would say of the 110 or 120 games that he'll play, and I think it'll be more so on the 110 side, I would expect that he may play 30 or 40 at first base. But certainly the Tigers are going to need some other people to step in and play first base because Miguel Cabrera is getting kind of old to be playing that position. Wilson Ramos will be the catcher. He hit .239 last year with 5 home runs. In spring training this year, he hit .268 with 1 home run. I don't know a lot about him except for the fact he was with the Twins last year. I do think hitting-wise, he's certainly an upgrade over catchers that the Tigers have had in recent years, to be sure. And Matt Boyd will be the opening day starter tomorrow. Matt Boyd struggled last year, but again, considering that there was no spring training and the season was completely disjointed, I think you can take those numbers and throw them out. And his numbers this spring prove that he's back on track to have a standard Matt Boyd type of year, to be sure. In the next segment, I will cover the reserves for the Tigers as well as the relief pitchers for the Tigers. Stay tuned to this Sports with Ed 2021 Major League Baseball and and Detroit Tigers roster preview on Ed's Sports Channel.